All right. We're back in. We did it. We're here.
We're back. It's episode 36 of the Berserk cast, but we're here to talk about the new Uniqlo location opened up in Calgary. We're finally a real city. We get Japanese clothes. Yeah.
So, yes, there is that. Also, we get Chipotle this weekend.
Oh, okay. I could use another burrito option in the city. I kind of turned on Mucho Burrito after I got sick eating there one time.
Dude, Mucho Burrito's garbage.
I haven't trusted them.
It's a trash place. I hate that place so much.
Yeah, Bar Burrito's been keeping me going. There's one kind of near us. It's okay.
Bar Burrito's fine.
Sure.
A little overpriced.
I'll let Chipotle throw their hat in the ring. We'll see how that goes.
I bet it's bad. But we'll see.
It's never been great. I mean, I went to one in America. It's like whatever. It's like being excited about a Subway. You know?
Yeah.
Ooh, we're getting sub sandwiches. It's like, yeah, I know, but it's a baseline, boring sub kind of standard, but whatever.
The thing I want is Chick-fil-A.
Rice.
Because Chick-fil-A is good.
They used to have the one in the airport, but
I used to go there all the time.
Going to the airport
on my break
to eat. Who would even do that? That's
Me,
crazy.
Every shift.
Did they ever have the spicy one here though? I think I got back from Atlanta and I was like, you know what, the spicy variant of their sandwich is what I want, and it was like, no, they don't have it. It's like,
really?
So I just walked away.
I don't.
And
remember.
then went out of business.
Maybe they didn't. It did go out of business. Yeah, it's because I stopped working there for a while. Nathan's famous.
Great.
It was part of the same little restaurant cluster or whatever. The same dining room had both.
There was one in Airdrie for a while too, and I loved going there, but it's gone. It's all gone.
Where? Where in Airdrie?
Oh, it was in that kind of mall. Like when you get to the city, there's like the Walmart and the London Drugs and all those places, Mr. Mike's and everything. It was in that area. There was one, and it was pretty sweet, but it's gone. Also, I shouldn't be eating these anymore because of the sodium, but hey, man, hot dogs are so great. Chicago knows it, putting that celery salt on there. I know it's bad for you.
And besides,
it's great.
Like, sure, if you don't eat them, you'll stay alive, but are you living?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Are you living life to the fullest?
Yeah.
Like, Guts would say no, for sure.
But we wouldn't know that because
4 Chicago dogs a day.
We wouldn't know because this volume, we don't see him basically fucking at all.
Yeah, this volume here is not about that. This is about Falconia, the mystical land of Falconia and all its splendor. And we get Rickert and Erica just kind of touring the city, getting shown about. And yeah, I just kind of let this one wash over me a little bit. I wasn't as stringently following beat to beat because it's just kind of a whole lot of the same. Just kind of surveying the scene here in Falconia.
Yep.
And there's some of the history with Rickert and his past and everything, and his guilt and everything coming to the surface, and that's of some interest, I guess. But yeah, a little dry. This one's a little dry for a while.
Yeah.
4 years later from last volume, I think. Like, this was like 2017 is when this collection was collected. So we're getting to a slower trickle of stuff as we approach the end here.
Yeah, I guess 3 years for like the Japanese release, 4 for us here in English. But yes, a long time. Yeah.
To the point where like last volume felt like it was starting to move into the next phase already, and then this one kind of treats it as a hard break with like, hey, here's a little recap for you in case you forgot what was going on. There was this sea god, there's this Morose, and we're heading to this island. And it's like, oh yeah. But I don't know. Part of it was just like we're getting them all in relatively short order here because we're reading them after the fact. But I can't quite imagine how long this journey to the island taking. Like, it seems kind of excruciating. Just like, no, Guts still hasn't made it to the island. We don't know what's gonna happen with Casca. We're not really sure how that's gonna go for years and years and years and years. Like, it's like the basement in Attack on Titan or something.
That started in 2011. Like, this whole Elf Island chapter started in 2011. The one we just read now, like you said, is 2017, roughly, when it all came together. 6 years since they started.
6 years. It's how long Gravity took to get made, that movie. And I held that against it. So I don't know if I should do the same here, but
it's a little different. No.
Terminal illnesses and everything. I'm gonna cut Mira a lot of slack here instead of Alfonso Cuarón just kind of wasting all of our time. So get it together there, Alfonso. Jeez.
Yeah.
Shoulder Man was good. Get back to that. I'm
Sure.
just bugging you. He won Best Director. I mean, he doesn't need my advice.
I will say the whole time reading this, there was kind of like a weird like feeling of dread, because it's like, I know like Rickard is going to meet up with Griffith at some point, and we're slowly making our way through the city. And the whole time it was just kind of like, the anticipation of what's going to happen. And we'll get to that part.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting how like, so, okay. One of the big themes just in general I had reading this was just like, maybe everything Griffith did, if it brings all these people to a safe, happy place where they can just like live their lives, like maybe it's fine that like 5 people hate him like completely, and like no one else here knows what happens because they're just like surviving.
Yeah. It was an interesting thought exercise for sure about like the cost of utopia or something, and like how much bloodshed is justifiable to get to a certain place or something. Like it's just like, like this is built on the backs of war demons and all this insane stuff that went down. Yeah. But the roads are nice or whatever. Like it's got this kind of like, they
have lanes for traffic. Like they literally
there's running water and yeah.
There's running water.
We get reintroduced to Lusa and those characters like from the brothel, like some of the people from way back. And they just kind of have it they're living large here a little bit. They're running some sort of halfway house or something.
Yeah.
And it's weird to get a glimpse of just like, well, it was really bad before, it was 100-year war. Everybody was killing each other all the time. Yep. And now it's not like that, but we know why. So it's sort of this strange moral dilemma, I guess, of just like, are you with Guts and kind of be like, no, I can't forgive what you did ever. You need to pay for that. Doesn't matter what's happened since. I don't care. Or is it kind of like well, just don't do it again. Like I don't know how you get look through it. It's just
it's weird because I think it's hard to excuse the like just the murder of all those of his old crew, the rape of Casca, and like the debasing of like humanity at that point or whatever. Like it's kind of hard to overlook that because we care about the characters and like we kind of, I don't know, it was just like the big thing that happened. But
it's just such a betrayal of the whole, like his old band, like the people he built and helped build him up to where he was.
And because like none of that,
he sold them all out for power, right?
And because like none of that also, okay, maybe this is like, I'm going to walk this back a little bit. If what happens here with Falconia and like basically there being actual peace in this world, or like at least this part of it, that can kind of act as sanctuary for like everybody or whatever against the monsters or whatever, like maybe it's worth sacrificing like 100 men or whatever he did. But no matter what your opinion on that is, the thing with him raping Casca was 100% not, that was a personal thing that had nothing to do with the betterment of humanity in any way, because that happened after he got the godlike powers. That, like, it was specifically that moment that was like, well, that part's unforgivable because you didn't have to do that to, like, create utopia. You did that because you're a piece of shit.
I don't quite know it's like, was that just vindictively done as, like, a strike against Guts?
Yeah, for sure. To control both of them, because they were... He liked that she, like, was fawning over him, and, like, that he had control over her and Guts, and then when they broke away, this was his, like, way of controlling both Guts and...
It's like, I've lost control over her. But it's weird because it worked out where it produced that strange thing that ended up being part of his rebirth, right? So
I see what you mean.
Sort of like there might be a demon logic to it that I don't like know if he knew or something, you know?
Was that part of his rebirth though, or is that the demon child? Like, I guess we don't really know what the hell is going on with that kid yet.
I thought that little fetus thing went inside the kind of Behelit guy and then birthed into this form of Femto or whatever, or Griffith.
Yeah,
whatever we want to call him, right?
Yeah.
It's weird. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was actual planning there, if it just worked out. I guess I've also been thinking, like, it's been a while since I've gotten any hint of any of the other God Hand members. Like, I don't know how they feel about any of this. Like, Griffith is just kind of doing his thing. I don't, they sort of seem ancillary or outside of the scope of things right now. I don't know if they have any jealousies or things between each other. Or it's just like, oh, whatever. Our newest member's got his project going on with Falconia.
It's interesting because I think they sold him out and this is all part of their master plan or some grand, weird thing. Like, I think in the end, this is going to be causality. Like, this had to, I think this is a time is circular type thing going on because the city, they even make mention of this in this volume or one of the chapters. This city is like the old city rebirthed or whatever, like the old fallen kingdom from 1,000 years ago or some dumb shit. And and
as they're approaching stuff, it's like, whoa, this doesn't even look like Windham Castle at all. It's like, no, I know. It's just this weird version of it or something. It was underground or
they make mention of the lost city, or that old tale or whatever. Like, this is basically that, or at least that's what they think it is, which means that Guts is probably Skeleton Man, Skeleton Knight. I think this is all time is just
it's
looping.
An echo of that situation. Yeah,
or it's literally, this is Skeleton Knight is Guts again, just this is all happening over and over.
I was kind of at this point, you and I, the reader, we know the whole tale or whatever, but if Guts just pops out now and kills Griffith, it would just be this weird martyr situation for most people. It'd be like,
totally,
what that was our greatest king ever, and this crazy guy flies in with the sword and kills him. What is that guy's problem? The who is a hero and who is not won't be seen in the same lens
totally
as we have, because it'd be like, man, we had it so good in Falconia, and now look at it. That guy, jeez, Berserker armor.
Totally. I was thinking about stuff like this too, and it put me down this weird path of what if John Wilkes Booth's wife or love interest was raped in front of his eyes by Abraham Lincoln, and we're all like, fuck that guy, he killed the guy that freed the slaves.
It's oh, that was restitution for this horrible personal crime.
And it's
Abraham
one of those
Lincoln
things
did.
that's at what point,
or John Wilkes Booth, he was Abraham Lincoln was the vampire, and he was trying to kill a vampire that was ruling over DC. We don't know, who can say? Sorry, just there's that terrible Abraham Lincoln vampire hunter, but they got it wrong. It was backwards. It was John Wilkes Booth, vampire killer. So who knows? History is written by the victors. So
I was gonna say the exact same situation.
Yeah. Whereas, tons of books and songs are going to be written about Griffith and this glorious Hawk age, but that's the thing, though. I guess I haven't seen enough, sordid underbelly, now. I know the eclipse and the after eclipse or whatever, the second thing and all the horrible deaths and things that have happened.
And then
but right now,
off.
all we get in this little tour is Rickert gets pulled aside by Locust and sees the demon battles or whatever, and it's that's kind of crazy, but it's just a couple of demons having a gladiator fight. That's not that crazy. I don't know what else you want demons to do.
I'm sure back in the day, you would go to a castle town or whatever to see royalty or whatever. You would get led into their giant hall and everything would be nice. And then in the barracks, you would have a bunch of fucking dipshit soldiers, like, hitting each other with sticks and swords and stuff. Like, it's the same idea, just in this weird fantasy world.
Or in kind of the second eclipse, like, what was that called? Like the I don't know. You remember, like the echo with the, the high C and all that craziness that was going on.
Yeah.
There, like, you'd get Nina would kind of take that guy aside and like, hey, see what's going down these caves, and there was just the craziest Old Testament stuff going on,
just like orgies with
with demons and stuff, and you're just like, okay, this city's built on a crazy hotbed of violence and craziness. This was just like, it's kind of compartmentalized, like it's just over behind this crazy demon door. There's demons like hanging out, and it's like, I mean, I guess as long as they're not eating people at night or anything, like this isn't that bad. Or it's not that big a deal.
Or like the rape thing. I'm a big proponent of like, if people aren't harming each other and they can like make a decision, fucking let them. Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah. Or the way the High C was even doing it with all the torture and stuff, like you just be like, oh, this is crazy under here. Like this is really bad. Somebody needs to put a stop to this.
Yeah.
Like I'm not quite getting the like somebody needs to put a stop to this like vibes with Falconia yet. I haven't seen enough heinous business going on. It's just kind of like, like we get this ceremony and there's all these people grieving over the people that died, but then their ghosts get to say goodbye and everything, and the Pope is there, and Griffith gets to summon all these spirits to say farewell and everything, and it's like kind of nice. It's like a Steven Spielberg movie. It's not a big deal. It
is,
but again,
weird.
Maybe there's a dark side, but I don't see it yet. So
sure,
but I've seen plenty of dark side from Griffith thus far, so I understand why Guts is where he's at with that guy.
But like even at that point, we met Griffith at like, I think volume 4 or whatever, right? Like the start of the Golden Age. And it took up to volume 20 or some dumb shit. Like it took 20 volumes for it to go off the rails. And then when it did, it really did. But
you'd get like flickers of how vindictive he is, or like the kind of chip on his shoulder from being pushed around when he was a younger person and everything. But nothing quite like to the I'm going to sacrifice 1,000 people I care about. Like it was still a bit of a whiplash, like, whoa, that's some crazy stuff. I didn't think you'd do that. So yeah, I don't know. It's just all to say, like, the balance of like dilemma or whatever doesn't seem to be fully spelled out for me. Like I'm just kind of like, okay, like, I'm kind of just harboring old wounds and things from 20 volumes ago when things were really bad. It's not any current shady business that's going on. Griffith seems so like inert and just like blasé right now. Like he's just drinking herbal tea with Sonia and Charlotte and everybody, just kind of like, oh yeah, it's got ginger and it's pretty refreshing, and there's just nothing happens. And then Rickard has his big moment, like where he walks up to him and kind of has to confront his feelings, and then Rickard goes berserk in this one. Actually,
he kind of does,
a little bit. Yeah, he loses his cool and just slaps him right in the face. And Locust, the knight, is horrified. He's just like, oh, that little punk, how could you do that? He's so dope. I don't understand.
Yeah. They're all like so that. They're like, who is that, and why is he hitting like this God King?
Lord Griffith.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was like, if someone goes at Griffith, no one understands why. Like, it's just like, oh, you don't know what he did? It's like, nobody here knows what he did. He, like, saved Charlotte. He did all these great things for these people.
There's only one person that even Rickard doesn't know is the thing.
He was like, at the outskirts of it. Yeah, he has, like, an idea. He has a vibe from it. And they do emphasize, like, that's mostly because he knows who was killed, and he set up the graveyard of swords or whatever. Yeah. Like, they keep flashing to that of just, like, I'm the person that memorialized those people. I cared about them. Like, I can't just forgive it. Like, you gave up all those people, like, you bastard kind of thing. And I'm not going to hang out here. But this immediately puts him at jeopardy, I guess. And it's a little fuzzy as to why. I don't think Griffith is the one pulling the strings here. I don't think he cares. Like, he just kind of makes a joke about it. It's just like, well, I guess I've been rejected. Anyway, some more tea. Like, he doesn't care. But then that night, assassins are trying to kill him. Like Roxas or whatever shows up, trying to kill Rickert. And it seems like perhaps Locust put him up to it. Like, that's who's pulling this wire or whatever. Who's like, no,
there's
like
a
can't
panel
insult our leader.
Where Locust was like breaking the like thing, the like patio like fence.
Yeah, he's holding onto a railing or whatever and just crushes it in his gauntlet because he's so mad.
So it must
can't
be
believe somebody would do that. I would assume it's him. Yeah, with what we know. But yeah. It's it's and then we get our big no-face moment.
It's an awesome moment where Rickert like says something about like, I followed Griffith the White Hawk. I don't care about like the Hawk of Light or whatever the fuck he calls himself now. And
it's like, you changed our logo.
Yeah.
And then that's like the only thing Griffith says to him is like, yeah, I guess it is a little different or something like this. It's just like, all right, like I'm not gonna follow you. I didn't even really register that he was saying all that to him for a bit. I had to go back and be like, oh, dude, he's like unloading all this on him. I thought he was just thinking about this.
Yeah.
And we know this, but no, he's like telling him to his face. So pretty bold, pretty cool.
Totally. Pretty stupid, honestly, too.
Kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that guy in the Wild Bunch just shooting that. Yeah, it's a terrible illusion. Needlessly escalating the harm, like the jeopardy you're in a way. But, hey, at least he stood up for all of his dead friends. And he kind of, just like, you get a sense that, like, he's being reckless a bit. He doesn't care about his life anymore in that respect. It's like, I'm kind of guilty I'm alive.
He makes
like, I have survivor's guilt.
Yeah. Of like, I'm sorry I wasn't with them to, like, come get you and wasn't part of the massacre, like, basically, or whatever. Didn't have the strength to, like, go with guts to help you or whatever back then.
Yeah, I think he's kind of confronting, like, I was kind of wishy-washy about this. I didn't take a stand either way. I wasn't sure what was going on.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what it is. Like, just looking him in the eye or seeing it all laid out or something, he just, all the bad vibes come out or whatever. He's just like, no, you're not the Hawk I knew. You would never, you're not who I believe in anymore.
I don't know about you, but I felt good that he rejected him. I didn't think it was gonna fit right with me if like Rickert was like having an actual conversation with him and just like starting to be like, oh yeah, I will follow you again. Like that would feel so wrong.
Yeah, even give him a chance to like bring him into his line of thinking or whatever. It's just like, no, you screwed up too bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of give you a little reminder of why Griffith isn't all he's presenting to the world or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad.
Yeah. And then there's some dilemmas of just like, well, I need to leave the city, like I need to go into exile now, but what to do with Erica? Like, should she stay here with Lusa and everybody?
Yeah.
They had a great time in the bathhouse earlier, which is some classic Miura action of just tons of boobs for no reason.
I'm a fan. Yep.
Just like, oh yeah, this is a Miura book. Couldn't read this one in the waiting room either. But that's okay.
Yeah, true.
Okay, the assassination attempt is really the big thing here. We get what is it? Raxus?
It's
Roxas.
Like I don't know how you pronounce it. It's like Rakshas. It's like so Roxas, I guess, or something like that.
Yeah, it's the mask guy, like the kind of no face guy who said he was going to kill Griffith.
Yeah.
He just sneaks right up on Rickert and says like, "Hey, you just don't need to worry about anything anymore," and like pulls a knife on him, and then spinning blades fly out of the darkness, and it's our, Kashan assassin guy. What's his name?
Silat. Okay. Whatever, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, him and his cronies are there to kind of defend him. And they managed to ward him off after a bunch of crazy moves and fighting and this elaborate kind of, double pin down face stab business that doesn't work out because that might not be where my head is or whatever. And it's just like, oh, weird. You just kind of get a better sense of like how ethereal and smoky and strange this guy is.
It's cool because he gets a guts moment where they're like, I think Raxus or whatever his name is says himself like that he's impressed because he's like trained a bunch or whatever, and he's like the weird prince or whatever who Silat was is like an actual like mercenary now or something. Like he was impressed with his fighting skill.
It's like, oh, you're faster and better skills than you used to have or whatever. It's like, all right, but he's still kind of toying with them a little bit. Like he's just like, yeah, you thought you killed me, but no, I'm
a cloak or something. Like I don't know what the hell he is. He's just like cloth. He's swaying around.
Living cloak, like just kind of a weird kind of bed sheet with a face in it that moves everywhere.
Yeah.
Some cool moves are pulled though. Like there's some foot blade action. You know, like, oh, you thought I only was using my hands. I got a blade between my toes, and he manages to cut his face.
Yeah,
like his real face, I think. But then it's on, I guess. Like he kind of stops joking around. It's just like that. You're not gonna be doing any more cutting today or whatever, and then just whirlwind crazy attack, and nobody could touch him. But then flamethrower. What?
Yeah.
I guess we didn't really set up. Like there's an initial attack that gets warded off, and then he strikes a deal with Silat and the assassin crew or whatever of just like, all right, I have to leave the city. You got to smuggle me out of here.
Yeah.
So this subsequent attack is like Raxus just like, all right, I'm gonna get you tonight. I'm gonna be back. And then he has a new mask because they fractured his in half, and he was really bummed out about that.
Yeah.
And then there's been some of like Rickert's ingenuity with machines and stuff. Like
that comes out a lot here, actually.
Yeah. He provided a kind of a prosthetic leg, or like kind of a bionic leg made of wood and springs and stuff, for this mysterious old horse stable master guy
that
we don't know
to animals.
Like who.
That's all we know.
Yeah,
about him.
He seems familiar somehow. I don't know if we've seen this guy, but he seems to have he can literally talk to horses and at a command make Erica do chores for him, like just by tapping her on the head, kind of cast a spell on her or whatever. So he's got some magic powers or something.
Yeah.
But Erica is a good sport about it and really makes an impression on him, which is important for later.
Yeah. Yeah, she is a good sport about it. Apparently, like, what did she say? Something like, I'm a blacksmith's daughter. Like, I'm used to working really hard or whatever. I like it.
Yeah.
Like, all right,
it's kind of my daily routine. It's like, all right, well, great, because I'm really old and don't like doing this. So,
yeah. True.
Rickard also fixes this like a fire pump thing, like kind of a fire hose barrel pressure shooter kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is again important for this very moment, because the Tapasas, the two bald guys, with maybe no eyes, I couldn't really tell.
I can't tell.
Like it's like their eyes are almost like always deeply furrowed or whatever. So it's like I don't know if they just have the deepest set eyes you can have, or they no longer have eyes.
Yeah.
But either way, they pop out of the alley with like a flamethrower to kind of up the stakes in this initial surprise attack that didn't quite work out, where like, hey, I got a machine bow or whatever, and fires a bunch of arrows at Roxas, but it doesn't kill him. Roxas, I'm definitely saying it wrong, but it's okay. Mask guy.
Yeah.
And then he's a little pissed already because like, oh man, I just got this mask and you already damaged it. You are so dead.
Yeah.
And then oh wait, there's way more to this attack or whatever. So yeah, flames everywhere, flamethrower craziness. He is set on fire.
That part's
and then
so good.
Some
Holy shit.
pretty good crazy business goes on. It took me a while to be like, what is happening? And it's like, oh, okay. He reaches into the horse barn, pulls a horse up over his head, and then cuts it in half.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really sure why, but it's like, oh, okay. He's dousing himself in horse blood.
Yeah,
to put out the fire.
Put the fire out.
Which is like pretty heavy metal way to deal with that, but he does.
Poor horse.
Good countermeasure, poor horse, yeah. So they have not fully defeated him. And then I don't know why this next scene really happens. It reminded me of Dakota Fanning in War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
Where, you just kind of put yourself in harm's way for no reason. It's just like, what is that? Is that a tripod? I'm going to run outside. And it's like, what do you, this whole time we've been hiding in a basement because of these things, and now you're out there looking at it? Like, it was like that.
Yeah.
Erica runs out into the midst of this whole crazy chaos, and I guess you might want to speak to this moment, because I think you were teasing this as being like old Mira versus young edgelord Mira.
So,
would have written this a little differently.
This whole part in general, it made me realize, first of all, we haven't had some like fucked up Mira business in a while. We've had a lot of like Guts and crew taking on tentacle pirates and a sea god and monsters and stuff, but we haven't had monsters taking humans or like horses or animals or children or whatever and just fucking them up like completely to the point where you're like, oh, this is terrible.
I think it's probably since like the trolls and their captives, you know?
Yep. The troll
like
rape,
that was the last
sure.
time I was like, oh, this is some horrible business going on.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, it's been a while where like even that town had like Isma's town had the opportunity for like, oh, just normal people living in a town, but oh no, the tentacle monsters.
They were already transformed by the time they got
there.
there.
It's like, oh, that happened like 2 years ago. Like they've been monsters for a while. It's like, oh, okay. Like they don't even seem like people already. Like that bartender guy that kind of, it's like, oh, I don't know why we're just talking to you like you're clearly a demon or something. You know, like there was moments there where it's just like, we're just gonna pretend everything's cool in this town, but you know, it's
I get,
yeah.
I guess the whole like, I can't remember his name, but the guy who turned the demon god king or whatever that like turned into the giant tree man. Ganishka.
Yeah.
Him stomping like whole like crowds of people. Like there's some gnarly stuff that happened, but there wasn't anything visceral on the page that is like
right. There was the kind of weird god perspective thing. I'm just like, oh, pretty flowers or whatever. It's like, it's kind of creepy. You know, like he's talking about blood splatches or whatever, but you're right. Maybe that's the last time.
It's the troll like rapey thing that was that like garnered a reaction that was like, oh fuck, this is messed up in some way.
This is pretty extreme content. Like since then it's been pretty tame fare. And this certainly has an opportunity. Like the horse thing is pretty crazy, but this is an opportunity to get way crazier, and then doesn't happen. Like basically the same stage setup happens. Like Erica gets grabbed, hoisted over Roxas's head, like the exact same thing is about to happen, but then it gets intervened. By Diaba, I guess, who was secretly the horse guy. He was the guy the whole time.
Yep.
And he took a shine to Erica and her hardworking spirit or whatever, so he was willing to reveal himself and use his magic snake powers to disrupt this whole situation, which is nice. You know, I appreciate that.
This fight got really weird because, like, I thought the fire and, like, the oil being pumped like a through a fire hose, basically, with the flame in front of it to make a flamethrower. I thought it was ingenious because, like, oil doesn't come out of, like, cloth or clothing well at all. So, like, obviously it's going to just, like, continuously burn like napalm in this thing that is just a cloth, essentially. Or something. And then he puts it out. And then just, like, a bunch of snakes start, like, crawling all over him. I'm like, what the fuck is going on in this fight right now?
It's wizard power. It's Daiba's high sorcery business going on. But it's a little weird. It's enough to distract him enough to get like Erica snatched away, and then they got to get out of there, I guess. Like, I forget if they really deliver any kind of finishing blow.
He calls a horde of rats at the same time, and the idea is the rats will gnaw on the cloth for hours, so it'll take him time to get them all off him.
Nice. Yeah. Just seek vermin on the rag pile guy.
It's pretty funny.
And then he'll have to deal with that. Yeah. That's, good distraction. And then instead of horses, he just kind of summons up his like weird flying pterodactyl monster things. Yeah. It's like, all right, we got to get out of here. Like, I'm going with you to Assassin Village or whatever. And like they all agree to get out of there. And then I think you get a scene of Griffith just kind of looking out over the city as like they flee.
Yes.
And it's just kind of like, all right. again, kind of being obscure as to whether he ordered any of this to happen or it's just kind of happening in his, purview or whatever. Like Locust is doing this or what. So I guess we don't really know who ordered the hit, but I like to think it wasn't him because that seems beneath him. But maybe there's some of that dastardly old Griffith somewhere in there. And he did take this personally in some weird way, and that would seem petty and strange, but he is the bad guy, so maybe.
Sure,
I don't know. He didn't like how that bald guy was trying to maneuver around him many, many volumes ago.
Yeah.
Gave him that super frown or whatever, that stare down, so...
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows, right?
I think more than anything, Falconia has been a cool way for, a way to bring together a bunch of characters that never would have met or had anything to do with each other and kind of remind you that they exist. Because, any survivors would probably be here. So you have now a hub where you could put literally anybody who, quote-unquote, survived whatever part of the world they were in can live here, and it makes sense because they've been rescued or whatever. Yeah,
and Lucia doesn't get a lot, but it's still nice to see her again. She was a good character. No sign of Nina, so I didn't get what I wanted as a big Nina fan.
Yeah, maybe later. But you never know.
Maybe later, but I don't know. But yeah, I guess they just stay in the city. I don't think they have to flee, right? Their connection to this whole business, they kind of downplay. At one point, her cohorts are talking to Rickert and it's oh, you know the big cheese? We gotta get in with we gotta get some connections going on. And it's yeah, he slapped him. Okay, never mind. I don't want to know you at all. We gotta go. So
it's pretty good.
He kind of burnt all of his social capital in one moment. But hey, it was for honor or something. It was for his friends. Yeah. It's like that Ubisoft game, For Honor. That's what it's about.
It's exactly that. Yep.
Yeah. But okay, cut away from all this. They flee into the night. Now we finally get a little glimpse, after 6 long years or whatever, of Elf Island. We're going to see just the outskirts, mind you. We don't get to really get in there. But there's a maze of stones that Isidro tries to conquer just with his bravado. He just tries to run up this hill, and he ends up kind of nonsensically Blair Witching it, just oh no, what has happened? And then you come out the front again, and you're I guess I got lost.
This is 100% that gag in old TV shows or whatever, where Yakety Sax would be playing and somebody's going through a door and they come out another door in the same hallway and they're just being chased or something. And it doesn't
to
make
me
any sense.
It kind of reminded me of the Lost Woods or something in a Zelda, where it's just oh, you went through the right door, you screwed up, you're back at the beginning of the maze somehow,
right?
And you didn't listen for the fairy's song in the right thing or whatever. But their hack for getting past this is Puck used to live here, so surely he just will know how to navigate this thing.
We got hot Puck lore on his background.
Oh man, that's right. He does tell the prequel, the prologue to BERSERK.
As he
literally says that's what he is.
Yeah.
He was chilling on this island with this seagull named Jonah. And I think he pissed on its back or something, and angered it in his sleep, right? And he had to leave. I'm pretty sure that's the tall and the short of it.
I think the seagull attacked him. They were fighting, and then he
they were fighting over some fish. There's actually a funny line of just give me that omega-3 or whatever. It's great. That's a dumb fish joke. Great, sure. And then they seem to have made peace. He is riding on the back of this bird, but then he falls asleep and has a wet dream or pisses his pants or something.
I couldn't tell what happened.
The seagull.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then he's no longer welcome there. So I don't know if we're going to meet Jonah later, or if he has long since died because he's a bird. But I don't know.
I was under the impression he was sleeping on the seagull's back, and the seagull went to sea and then threw him off, and he landed on a random boat, and then he just found
He does land on a random boat as part of this. Yeah, it's true. And that's how he started venturing out away from Elf Island, I guess, and went on his wacky series of adventures.
Yeah.
Just got lost, couldn't find his way back. And it took a long time to get back again, but now they're here. Yeah. And they do this kind of giant daisy chain, like conga line thing, and they're laughing about how stupid it looks. Serpico, where somebody's just like, we sure make a site, don't we, or whatever, and they're like, ah ha ha ha. And they manage to navigate this field of maze stones or whatever. And then we get kind of shadowy figures in the dark who look like witches or something. They look like Shirka hats with staves and everything, kind of sitting in the darkness, kind of being like, oh, don't worry, they'll never navigate the maze.
That makes sense. Oh, wait, they
did. They made it through the maze. Oh, no, what are we going to do? Hey, don't worry about it. The scarecrows will get them.
Right.
And then there's this giant pumpkin field. And for some reason, some of the characters just can't help themselves and start grabbing pumpkins and stuff, which is exactly what you shouldn't do, because these scarecrows are theft activated. Yep. And then like 7 Grim Reaper style like scarecrow creatures start emerging from the fields and are clearly gonna just chop down all of our heroes, and that's it for them. To come so far and then just die in issue 38, it's crazy.
And then Guts,
that's probably what's going to happen.
Guts lifts up his sword, and that's kind of where it ends.
I don't know. It's something about just like a cliffhanger here. It's just like, yeah, that'll do it. That's it. These Reaper things are going to kill Guts, and that'll be the end of it. It felt like an old Batman TV show or something. It's like, will our heroes escape?
Yeah.
This totally minor threat? Oh, no. And it's like, tune in next time on Berserk. I'm pretty sure Guts will be fine.
These stiff moving scarecrows with giant size. Yeah.
Like they look kind of cool. Like they would be like an early creature you'd deal with in like Bloodborne 2 or something. Like they're not going to be the guy. It's just, oh yeah, there's these tall things, and if you go in the fields and eat the pumpkins, you get attacked by these things. Like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, they're nothing.
Use your dodge roll or whatever. You'll be fine.
So, I don't know about your version. My version didn't have the, wait, this is like, stop reading here or whatever warning at the end. It just ended. Like, it was
mine had stop, this is the back or whatever.
Back.
Like,
yeah.
It did have that, the digital version I was looking at.
Mine didn't. That's weird. It just had a blank page. So I was like, what what happened here?
Was that the end of a thought? I don't know. It's like, yes, that is the end of this volume.
The one other thing that I'll bring up that is probably just like a side thing that isn't going to be, or isn't important yet, is Isma is with them, and her mother gave her like a seashell thing that she can hear her voice or like contact.
That's right. It's like, hey, if you ever need the help of the Murrow, like this is like a receiver, like you can talk to us through it. And it's like, okay. I still don't know that I know her mom's name.
I don't either.
But just Queen Murrow or whatever, she's in charge.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess that's right. Isma, that was a little connection point. And the Mustache Knight maintained his secrecy. He didn't reveal who he was. I sort of feel like with Daiba, that was like if they kept being cagey about who the horse guy was for like 10 volumes, that would be like the Mustache Knight, you know? Just like, who is this guy? It's like, I don't know. He sure seems a lot like the Bridge Knight Azan, but we may never know. It's like, what is happening? Like, are we just tired of drawing this guy? We'll never see his face again. But
this
hopefully
wiki calls her Isma's mom. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah.
Really? There's never been. All right.
So yeah. Okay. Anyway,
I'm gonna say Diane, but I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, and I guess in Rickart's meetings with people, there was a handful of people he met. Like there was a general and various other underlings or whatever that were all super impressed with Griffith. But he wasn't standing for any of that. So
it's kind of tragic.
That's probably the highlight,
because there's a bunch of parts in there where, like, you can tell that they do want to stay. Obviously, like Erica is hugging a cat at some point. She seems to just be like enjoying being in a place and not on the road, probably, and being like a kid helping out the stable. Like, she's having a good time with Lusa or whatever.
Lusa and her group in the bathhouse, and it's just like, nope. Hope you enjoyed your one night of comfort. We're heading back. We're gonna move to an assassin village, so surely that'll be good.
Rickard himself goes to like a foundry and is just like astonished at like how cool it is seeing like all the like industrial sector or whatever. It's like he would obviously fit in really well here too. There's this weird tragedy of like him saying like that he obviously like loves it there, but he couldn't live there because he knows like what him and his friends had to
like
give
at
up
what
for
cost or whatever. The erosion on his soul or whatever would be too high.
It's too bad.
It's also just there's a vastness to it that I thought was best captured when he's like trying to walk up to Griffith's palace and it's like, whew, I should have taken a carriage or something. This is ridiculous. And then you see like these giant wide shots of just like crazy Coruscant like roads and things up into the upper rafters, and they go under a bridge at one point, and they're like, you could fit a whole castle under this arch. This is stupid. Like, it's so big. And it's like, and then I was kind of getting Anne Orlando vibes, but that's like 6 years before this now. So I don't know. We've passed that echelon into like beyond when those were coming out. I guess Falconia like was established a while ago, but we didn't really get to look at it until now. So.
Sure. Yeah. Do you remember the name of the old city or whatever, or what happened to it?
I just keep saying Windham, like Wyndham.
No, I meant the one before that. The one that like Skull Knight was the king of until like in the history
not
of
specifically. There's some talk of the old city, but I don't know if they highlight exactly what it used to be. But
because I think that this is that. That's it. Because I remember back a long time ago when they were talking about it, it was where that Tower of Windham was where they had Griffith locked up. And
for a year or whatever. Yeah.
And they like at the bottom of the stairway where the staircase kind of crumbles away and it just goes into this chasm. They like kick something in or whatever, and as the readers we follow it down and we see like,
it's the old city.
Cobblestone and like a bunch of skulls and like piles of bodies or some shit. I can't remember exactly what, but it was like some creepy bullshit. I'm sure
now
this
that
is
has like risen somehow. Like this has risen to the surface and is the new reborn city. Yeah,
I am sure that's what it is. And it's weird because they even make mention here that in Falconia, the architecture for like his castle where he resides, Griffith, is different than that of like the city proper, which I found kind of an interesting like tidbit of like, oh, that's
it's like in
weird.
Malignant when they're in the old Seattle, like underneath Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that. But if it rose and became like where the convention center is and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's just we're near PAX weekend and everything. So thinking about the Seattle world again. But, yeah. The new Falconia, Seattle. But anyway. Yep. It's America's equivalent. Is
it's Seattle.
Washington.
Yep.
But I don't know. Like I feel kind of like an important volume in a way, like to get a look at that place. But it was like 90-10, like Elf Island. So like I just want to like let's see what Elf Island is. Is Cass going to be okay? She has like a moment where she tries to bite a seagull or something. Like she's still not here. So hopefully next one we'll get there, but we'll see.
I'm worried though because it seems now like we're on the island, but
they also have a conversation about how time is weird.
Yes.
Like Isma's mom says like, hey, just so you know, it's gonna be like Interstellar or something. Like if you go down there, it's gonna be different on the other side. You know, it's like Narnia or something. I don't know how it's gonna go. Like if a long time is a short time or a short time is a long time or what we're gonna see. but there's some sort of time bending effect that's going to take place while they're there. So I
Is
don't
it
know
an
if you're going to come out
excuse
of there
to
and it's
draw
old
Rickard?
Griffith.
Or old Rickard.
Like, he's going to have a giant beard or something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he'll be a full-grown man, like
Yeah.
trained up with assassin powers. And you're like, what? Where have you been? It's like, we went to Elf Island.
Oh, like,
That's crazy.
I know you're kind of tongue-in-cheek saying that, but yeah, like maybe.
No, it might be true. Like, they've established where they're going and what they're up to, and maybe they'll just cut 10 years or something.
Oh, my
I don't
God.
know.
What if they leave Elf Island, right? And it's just like modern-day New York City 2020.
Oh, it's like just visiting with
It's been
Jean
like
Reno.
4,000 years or whatever.
They just get back and Griffith's long dead. And that's why there's like no final battle ending that everyone was hoping for. It's just like, no, you screwed up. Shouldn't have gone to Elf Island. You cared too much about Casca to save her, and it cost you your revenge.
Casca fits
Crazy,
in
right?
with the like California Valley girls perfectly. Everybody just has their place in this new world. Guts has a cell phone.
I don't know. I don't think so, but we did get told time will be weird, and we don't know what happens next. So who can say? Send in your theories to No, you probably all read it, but yeah, I have gone berserk at gmail.com is where you'd send in such postulations, but only if you don't know, only if you've never read volume 39. Can you guess as to whether it'll be like Enchanted or something? You know, remember that movie?
I do. Yep.
I haven't seen the sequel. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, me neither.
Okay, speaking of the email.
Speaking of I have gone berserk at gmail.com, I do have an email that says berserk mail on it.
Okay.
Dear Berserkers, this is from Antonio. I hope this message in a bottle made its way to you. I write this time not to ask a question, but a favor. Would you be so kind to design your own bingo card for this manga? What would your free space be? I hope this activity helps you on your journey across the sea. In the meantime, keep on berserking. Ding, ding. So we're not at sea anymore, by the way.
Are these like just kind of tropey things that happen all the time? Or it's like a drinking game?
Yeah, so bingo, right? How many spaces is that? 5 by 5?
Oh, I was drawing 3 by 3, but you're
let's
probably
do
right.
3. No, let's do 3 by 3 because that 5 by 5 is too long to do on a podcast.
It's too long of a segment, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What's the middle space? What's the free space?
Wait, does that mean like it comes up too often to reward you anything?
Yeah.
Or
basically.
It'd be boobs then. Probably. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down. Okay.
Yeah.
So
what or just unnecessary nudity. Or extremely necessary. I don't know which way you lean, but yeah.
So one space is everyone fawns over Guts in action. Okay.
Oh, like someone remarks at to how fast and amazing,
or cool, or yeah, exactly.
Guts' sword play is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't even see the blade. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. I love that there was a conversation in this one about the sword. Like Lusa and Daiba are kind of standing there while Erica's talking about like, yeah, my dad was a blacksmith. He made a crazy sword once that was bigger than a person. And there's like, who could even wield that? It's like somebody did. And there's like, wait, somebody a sword big? Like they don't quite get it. There's like, wait, I've seen a guy like that.
Yeah,
I know that guy. Like it's just they don't put the numbers together.
Yeah.
But okay. Probably Isidro saying something stupid or Puck saying something stupid or both.
Okay, so let's say Chestnut Puck is probably one. Just
Chestnut Puck, yeah. Or, I mean, it doesn't come up often enough, but I do love it when Puck has like some sort of cultural reference that you don't get at all. And there's like a little note being like, this is a reference to a comedian's famous walk that he used to do on a TV show. So just so you know, like a little aside. But yeah.
So like inside jokes.
Well, just Puck, Chestnut Puck and his chicanery. That's really the most of it. I was gonna say like Elaine making her dumb sounds, but
okay. So
you know,
Elaine, and then I'll put in parentheses, dumb Casca.
Dumb Casca. just some of them were endearing. Like way back, she'd be like grabbing somebody's hair or something. Like remember that posse of executioners that the Holy See was employing. Like I enjoyed when she was grabbing at that one guy's hat, like nibbling on his hat while they're walking through like the most grotesque dungeon ever. Like there were times when it was bringing some levity to the situation, but this one, I'm just kind of over it. Like her remarking at seagulls and stuff. I was just like, oh, Casca, you used to be so cool, but yeah. I at a point though, like clips flashbacks, like those kind of went away, but there was like 8 volumes there where it was just like, hey, remember what happened? And it's like, yeah, it was a real crazy volume.
So why don't we just say flashback? Just flashbacks in general.
I feel that there was I think there was another one in this one. I mean, there was the surprising one last time where we went back to like Guts's teen years again.
I would count
with his prison escape. Yeah.
There's a scene here where it is just like a panel of Rickert with the Band of the Hawk standing there. Like I would count that like a memory.
Oh yeah, sure. It's just like remember those days, and then it's like the key characters you remember from. Yeah, that's right.
So I would count that.
What about Sonia being passive aggressive? Is that good enough to warrant? Or no, we didn't really talk about it, but she's being such a bitch at the tea party.
A bitch, yeah. I hate her so much.
Like anytime Charlotte says anything, she tries to kind of step on it, or like I don't know. It's I find it funny, but yeah, it's weird. That character is setting herself up for disappointment. I wonder if do you think she'll betray the whole thing then because of this petty jealousy? Like, do you think she'd turn?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I kind of think I
think maybe it's all just Griffith is taking her for granted and she hates that. You know? Something like that, yeah.
I think we might spend too much time in the upcoming volumes of them creating a, like, crew of people that like hate Griffith to like take him on. Like I think they're gonna like planning a heist or something. Guts is 11 or some dumb shit where
like should they make it to Falconia like re-teaming with people that like could be swayed, like
the Kushan mercenary group. Rickert, obviously maybe Sonia, like you said, like scorned.
I don't even know what to make of like Roxas's deal with like even while he's on this mission, he keeps saying like, "Yeah, I can't wait to kill that guy." It's like what? Like I don't think that's gonna work out for you. Actually, that was to the point where I was wondering if that'll eventually come to a head and like Griffith just one shots him like it's nothing.
That would be so funny.
That just as a way to show like no, Griffith is still like he hasn't done anything in like many volumes where he's had to show he's still got it, but he's still got it. You know, just to immediately set that straight.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, you know, in The Condemned when Stone Cold Steve Austin punches that guy, Regime or whatever, just boom. Anyway.
We need 2 more.
2 more spaces? Okay.
For a 3x3, just so people listening at home are clear.
I'm trying to like spread out to other characters. I mean, at some point though, sorry, it has to be like Guts Goes Berserk, right?
Yeah,
like that should probably be one of them.
It should probably be the free space, actually.
You know, when Guts Goes Berserk, that happens a lot. He didn't have to in this one, but that's kind of the whole thing. But I was trying to think of other characters like a Farnese or a Serpico or a Shirka or something. Like if they have like a go-to thing, you know? Like for a while there, I think it was like Shirka kind of having her quiet crush on Guts was coming up a lot.
Yeah.
But thankfully that's waned a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
What was Farnese's hang up? Like just kind of being down on herself?
Oh, the fact that she's
for a long time.
She was useless because
she's like, oh, I'm so useless. I can't do anything. I'm not helping at all. And it's like, no, you're doing a great job.
She kind of
babysitting
lost
Casca.
herself, though, is the thing.
Yeah.
So like, everything. She put all of her faith. I guess they do this in the military. The idea is like they break you down completely and then like rebuild you in the way that...
It's like, no, your life is the Marine Corps.
Yeah, exactly. So that when the Marine Corps goes away, people usually just have PTSD or don't know how to like live in normal society anymore or whatever.
So her life was being like a seer for the church or whatever. And now it's just like, now I can't burn people anymore. What am I supposed to do? Become a mage, I guess? I don't know. Like, at least she figured it out. I mean, for a while, it'd be like Bahamut's just kind of creepily appearing, but it hasn't mattered in a long time.
Yeah.
You know?
I kind of wanted to say, like, a monster thing, but, like, monsters are just part of this world now, like humans used to be, so...
I mean, especially since the transformation. Like, before, it was kind of... There was neat kind of... Like, oh, is this guy going to turn? Like, he's got a hang up, like, some sort of personal flaw that's really nagging at him. Like, is he going to commit a sacrifice and do a thing?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even what we were saying with like Erica not getting split open for a while, you could count it on just like Mira does something totally messed up.
Yeah.
like you turn the page and go,
yeah,
whoa.
Totally.
But again, that's kind of waned a little bit. Like for a while I was getting a little chippy about like just like another monster shows up. Like he would fight like some sort of crazy whale. And then it's like, now there's 3 of them. It's like, yeah. I mean, I'm sure he'll be fine with this too.
It was funny.
There's more trolls.
That was the problem with the Kushan Empire stuff, where it's just like, like Daiba just controls like 100 of this type of thing, so we just get to
fight a bunch of gator men. They're gonna get you. It's like, I think we'll be fine. Or those tiger things. Yeah.
Man,
yeah, is there anything with Farnese anymore? I don't know.
Maybe Farnese learns a new spell. I don't know.
That's been very gradual, though. She's only learned like 3 spells.
Yeah. One of which I think was just her like keeping Shirke alive. Essentially just like, this just exists. Like, as long as you don't like fall unconscious, this just exists. It's fine.
Oh, the kind of protection cloak thing around the ship? Yeah. Oh, what about Serpico's dumb brother saying something stupid? He does that a couple times in this one, where it's just like he's still talking about like profiting off of the fairies for some reason. It's just like, you remember our scheme,
is this
right?
Magnifico?
Something like that. Yeah.
Let's put Magnifico scheming. I think that's broad enough.
Or being cowardly, like him on the ship and stuff.
You know, cowardly. Okay.
Upper crust Magnifico. I don't know, but yeah.
So here's your Here's your bingo list for people playing at home. In any particular order except for the middle, which is free space. Everyone fawns over Guts in Action. Chestnut Puck. Inside jokes about stuff that wouldn't exist in this world. Elaine, parentheses, dumb Casca, making her sound / faces. Free space, boobs with 3 exclamation marks after it.
I didn't do that, but yeah, okay.
I did.
They're ever present, yeah.
If you want, you can actually, even when you write boobs, you can put like a dot in the 2 O's to draw a little pair for yourself too. It's good.
There you go.
Another space, flashbacks. Just the word flashbacks, and you'll probably.
I mean, that entire golden arc is kind of. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Next space, Sonia's bullshit. I put, which it encompasses a bunch of stuff, I guess.
I feel that's at least been going on for a while. Like the Magnifico one, I feel weird about because he's only entered the proceedings relatively late. But whatever.
Guts goes berserk, weirdly like absent for a long time in this list.
Yeah. At least we caught it before we let it slip by.
Yeah. And then finally, Magnifico scheming / cowardly is what I put. I just realized another one could be Deus Ex Machina helps crew, because that happens all the fucking time. Causality.
What do you mean?
Causality actually should have just been.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We should probably put like just Skull Knight shows up. Like he's just there. you know, instead of the Magnifico one, probably.
Okay.
Because it hasn't happened in a while, but there was a flashback involving him or like a vision or whatever. But for a while there, it would just be like, oh my gosh, this character's like falling to their death, and then suddenly Skull Knight.
Yeah, that's kind of what I meant.
He's just there.
Is just like
to sort things out.
Random thing.
Like, no, this girl's brave. I gotta help her out. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. Like he literally cut reality to like intervene in some crazy moments. Like it's just like, wait, what? And then like a Behelit eye thing just comes through the screen basically, and suddenly Skull Knight.
It's actually so stupid. It's so fucking.
I like it, but yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah.
It is quite a device to like set things right if you get astray. It's just like, Skull Knight's gonna need to reset the record here. Yeah. So probably suddenly Skull Knight should be one.
Yeah.
He was even just hanging out at the witch's house. It's like, I was always here. I was always friends with her. It's like, okay, sure,
why not?
I accept it.
Oh shit!
All right,
the witch's Shirke and he's Skull. Yeah, no, this is just the Ouroboros. Everything that's happening is
an echo, you know. It's the, but we haven't seen that tale. We were just hearing about it. So, yeah, this is our one seeing it. What? Yeah.
Who's
Casca?
Oh,
like what's her analog in the old tale? I don't know.
It's Slan.
I'm not sure.
Slan, the God Hand character.
Oh,
Isidro is oh my god, I don't even remember the other one's names. The little floating guy.
Wait, like all the principal characters became God Hands like many years ago?
Yeah,
so at the end,
not?
Isidro and Puck and everybody's just a God Hand. Like if you kill the God Hand, turns out you become them. So, whoops. So maybe. And then there'll be a new generation of characters trying to take down them. And it's going to be tough because that Guts is a pretty tough guy. So
he has that armor.
He's got that armor.
And causality.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he fights against the stream of causality. Yeah, we should go.
Well, thanks for writing in. Thanks, Antonio. Again, if you want to email, I'veGoneBerserk@gmail.com. We're coming down to it. Like we're catching up to present day, which is scary. But I'm putting on a bet for next volume. These scarecrows are too much for them to handle. That's it.
Yeah,
this
ends
is the end
here.
of our heroes.
Even though we know it's like literally not, but yeah, that's the end of.
They look pretty scary to me, so I would be toast.
Guts' story ends here.
It suddenly becomes it's Rickert's story now. Like he established himself, so
that could be kind of interesting for a volume. We kind of got that. Actually, no, we kind of got. We kind of got
that. That was mostly what this was.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Thanks for joining us again on the ship Berserk. I guess the ship has finally arrived. We're at Elf Island, so
we're here.
Welcome to the Elf Island Berserk, and hopefully we get to navigate the rest of these puzzles. How many puzzles do you think we're gonna have?
So
I was getting like a Wizard of Oz vibe from some of this.
This is the part I'm worried about. Is like, yeah, we're at Elf Island, but we still probably got 5 fucking things until we get to like the Elf King hideout or whatever. 5 volumes, because it's just gonna be trial after trial now, which is kind of cool, but at the same time, like, just
prove your worth to the Elf King. And
just give me Casca. Like, give me her back, please.
And then how many years will go by on Elf Island?
I feel like we're so close. Yeah.
But we'll find out next time on Goin Berserk. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Did we introduce ourselves? My name is Nathan.